It appears that the first failed couple are looking to get out of Washington, D.C., following the loss, of course, their father's election to Joe Biden. Since they're not exactly welcome back in New York, though, with the Southern District of New York Attorney General Cyrus Vance Jr. heading up some investigations of their father and the Trump organization, Ivanka and Jared have decided to buy a little piece of property in Florida. So, again, it's away from New York, which, of course, New York doesn't exactly want them. And I'll show you some examples of that. But ahead of President Trump's exit from the White House, the couple is busy, according to the New York Post, making plans for life after D.C. And have viewed numerous properties and lots of land in the Miami and Palm Beach area. And page 6 reveals that Ivanka and Jared have splashed out on a $30 million plus lot of land on Miami's uber swanky and high security Indian Creek Island, also known as the Billionaire's Bunker. They're in the bunker. How ironic. The private, guarded and gated Indian Creek Island is also one of the most secure places in Florida, as it boasts a 13-man police force for just 29 residences, according to the New York Post. It measures 1.84 acres with 200 feet of private waterfront. Perfect for the couple, of course, who wants to get away from it all, mainly because everyone hates you. I mean, seriously, let me show you one of the flyers that went up in New York City after this whole thing. So let me go to that. Not wanted. Hey, there you go. Hexant fake posh. Eyes. Dead behind the eyes. Wow. Oh, wow. Married to Slender Man. I'm sure Slender Man is very upset about this, being compared to Jared Kushner like that. Doing him dirty. Doing the Slender Man dirty there. And it's not just that. It's also a billboard in Times Square. I'm sure you've already seen that before, but, you know, in case you need a refresher here, look at that. So there's Ivanka. This is back when only 224,000 Americans have died from coronavirus. Now, of course, it's much higher. We're at about 285,000 people who have died from COVID. Man. And then I know you can't really see that, but there is, of course, a alleged quote from Jared Kushner. And I'll get to that. But before I do, I also want to note that New York doesn't want them back because, again, if they did, well, then 84% of Manhattan voters wouldn't have voted for Biden in the election. They would have voted for Trump. So there you go. There's that. But let me get back to that quote here, because I think that's important, because it has to do with New York. According to a report in Vanity Fair, the president's son-in-law told some business leaders during a meeting, this was back in March, to discuss aid to the states, right? So now, these leaders were told by Kushner, the federal government is not going to lead the response. It's up to the states to figure out what they want to do. One attendee then reportedly pointed to a CNN article about New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's calls for help with supplies, which Kushner dismissed as quote-unquote CNN bullshit. Kushner then reportedly went on to say, quote, Cuomo didn't pound the phones hard enough to get PPE for his state. His people are going to suffer, and that's their problem. Well, I'm glad he made the distinction of, well, that's his people, not your people, since you're supposed to be a native New Yorker and maybe, you know, supposed to care about your community, but you obviously don't. Oh, his people. And so, you know, that's their problem, not my problem. Screw you guys. I don't give a goddamn. That's who Jared Kushner is. Ivanka got herself in trouble as well, and claimed that, you know, workers didn't want guaranteed jobs or a higher minimum wage. That's not true at all. Look, higher minimum wage and jobs programs, those are actually pretty popular. So yeah, they do want those things. And then she goes on to talk about, of course, how, oh, people don't want to be given handouts or anything like that. And later adding that in the middle of the recession, of the depression caused by the pandemic, people should just go find something new if they lose their jobs. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Right. So there's a good reason why people in New York really don't like the Trump family. And you could say that's the same in a lot of blue states, at least, but they seem to be right at home in Florida. And so I love the irony of them going to an island nicknamed Billionaire's Bunker. There's just something about a Trump hiding in a bunker that just seems right. And by the way, what also seems right for us is that same island's probably going to be underwater by like 2100 or before. So, but until that happens, you know, it'd be a great idea. Build a wall around the island. Just build a great big beautiful wall around that island, and there you go. The Trumps get their wall, but instead of keeping, you know, decent people looking for a better life out, it would keep terrible, useless, rich people in. And I think that that would be a win, not just for New York, but for the entire country. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.